Hey guys, it's Kaylee and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. Every week I come on and I share what sold from the previous week, and I include some highlighted sales and show you exactly the items that are selling for me. That way you know what you can pick up at your local thrift store and flip online for a profit. If you like reseller content, or if you want to learn what kinds of things that you can sell online and make quick money on, then don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. I do videos all about selling on eBay, Poshmark, and various other sites. Let's jump into last week's sales.
All right, you guys, so this past week's sales are going to be between February 7th through February 13th. That is a Sunday through a Saturday. So coming into Valentine's Day week, I sold 80 items with a gross sales total of $2,803.03. Always have to remind everybody that this number is gross sales, so that's before any fees or any of the costs are taken out, and that is not what I'm putting in my pocket. My average sale price was $35.04. My total cost of goods was $422.50, and my average cost of goods was $5.28 per item. On eBay, I sold 46 items. On Poshmark, I sold 30, which was pretty good. And then as far as other platforms go, I sold a total of 4 items on other platforms, 1 on Depop and 3 on Mercari. On eBay, I had a gross sales total of just over $1,400. On Poshmark, just over $1,100. And then all the other platforms combined, just over $240. So all in all, I had a really great sales week. I'm starting to see our listing efforts come into play to make more consistent sales where I want to be at for the week. So I'm trying to get over that 3,000 per week hump, and I'm sure we're going to reach it soon, but this is where we're at now. And right now I am trending for the past couple of weeks just under 3,000. So hopefully next week we'll be able to reach over that 3,000 mark. I have a lot to show you guys today. I know I asked you in the last video what your preference was. I still haven't decided what I'm going to do, but I will say that so far majority of people would rather see less items, more details, although I did get a significant number of people who wanted to see more items with less details. So I'm going to see if I can do 2 different kinds of videos possibly and show both of those things. So stay tuned. I haven't quite decided yet, but I do have a lot to show you today, so let's jump right into it. I'll show you the random platforms first. So first I sold this on Depop. This is a vintage Daffy Duck sweater, and anytime I come across anything novelty like this, I almost always look it up just to see if it's worth anything. This definitely had some nostalgia to it and definitely vintage. I mean, look at those colors. I settled on a buyer for $75 with free shipping. I think I originally had it priced for $85. Depop is a great place to put unique vintage items like this because more than likely someone on Depop is willing to pay more for these items versus somebody on eBay or on Poshmark. I sold 3 items on Mercari. The first one was this PD Crown gold hammered necklace, and I knew it was PD Crown because there was a little emblem on the, I don't know what you call that, the little tag right here. And so I looked that up and figured out that the brand was called PD Crown. I don't buy a lot of jewelry. Sometimes I get in the mood for it, but when I do, I usually just feel for quality and look for something that's trendy. This one sold for $24 with free shipping. I originally had it listed for $32 with free shipping. This is a pair of Nike women's pants, and I actually paid $9.99 for these. And the reason I decided to pay up for them was because in the thrift store, before I picked them up, I looked up the style number on the inside. They felt like quality and they seemed like something somebody would be willing to pay up for. And that is a suggestion that I have for you guys, where if you are unsure whether it is a quality item or not, you can always look up the style number on the tag. I will link a video above of how to do that. But you can really be passing on some items just because you don't know how to look up the style number. or you might be selling an item for really cheap because you didn't look up the style number. So know what your item is worth, know how to research that information, but I decided to pick these up for $10. The style, after doing a quick research on Google, was called the Black Bliss Luxe Jogger Pant, and it had a really great sell-through rate. Now jogger pants, this style where it tapers towards the ankle, in general is a great style in Nike, but like I said, this one just seemed like quality, so I did look that up, and it ended up selling for $40 with free shipping, and these definitely went first class. It probably only cost me about $3 to ship. And then the last item on Mercari was actually a pair of sneakers that I used to wear, and they had, as you can tell, I washed them, but they still had a little bit of staining. I did mention the discoloration on the toe area, and of course I took pretty clear photos, I felt like, so I was just trying to liquidate this item. So I listed this for $20 with free shipping. These did ship first class because they're super lightweight, and they sold very quickly. So sometimes Mercari can be a good place to liquidate items. Moving on over to Poshmark, I switched the sequence up this week. I'll do eBay last, but we're going to do Poshmark now. I sold this vintage Ralph Lauren houndstooth wool wrap skirt. You guys know I love selling Ralph Lauren and any of the lines in between, especially when they're vintage. And look how vintage this tag is. That is a super old tag. I like picking up unique skirts in any of the Ralph Lauren lines, but this one in particular was wool. It was houndstooth, which is the print. It felt like quality, and it was longer, so it wasn't a mini, which made it a more substantial piece. I sold this one for $40, and I was actually surprised that it sold on Poshmark because it is, you know, vintage and more of what I would consider a more mature style. But you never know. So if you are cross-posting from another platform, I personally just put everything on Poshmark because you never know. These will probably look familiar. I featured these in a recent haul. This is the brand Vuori, and similar quality to Lululemon. I hadn't heard of this brand, but I'm definitely going to look for it now. And these pair of shorts sold for $34, which is crazy for a pair of shorts. Definitely up there with Lululemon. So if you're not familiar with this brand, all of their activewear stuff seems to have a really great sell-through rate on eBay, as well as a good average sale price. I did sell a couple of American Eagle items this week, and I'm going to show them to you so that you have an idea of just some things that you can pick up. Now, in general, I don't recommend picking up this brand in everything you see, but I try to look for more substantial pieces, or I look for super bohemian items. So this one was called the Jagging Fit, and it was a Henley sweater. And so I put all that information in the title, which I think helped us sell it for more. This ended up selling for $27. I think I originally had it priced at $35, I think, maybe $30. But it ended up selling for $27. Some more substantial pieces in this brand I would consider picking up, but always do your research. This is a Steve Madden women's vegan faux leather bag, and this is a saddlebag style. I am very selective with this brand, but I picked this one up because it felt like quality. It was a larger bag, and it had all these details, and it just looked super on trend. So I picked it up. It actually took me a while to get this listed. It kind of sat around for a while, but once I got it listed, it sold very quickly at $30. This is a top by Madewell, and this is another one of those pieces where I definitely looked up the style number and found this exact piece in comps before I picked it up. Madewell is one of those brands that's on the out for me, so I'm really only picking up pieces that I know are going to sell by looking up the style. So I did see that this particular one had sold for, I think it was $30 or $35 on eBay, so I decided to pick it up in this particular color. And it did end up selling on an offer for $27, which I was pretty happy with. All right, I love picking up this brand. The brand is called Burton, and it's called like Burton Snowboarding. And Burton sells a lot of snowboarding jackets as well as some other gear and sometimes sweaters and stuff like that. But their jackets in particular are what they are known for. And I did find a similar jacket on eBay comps that had sold for quite a bit, so that's why I decided to pick this particular one up. It was kind of unique with its yellow striping detail, and it was in really great condition. I sold this one for $70, and I'm really happy that it sold because, you know, we're moving into warmer weather, so I'm trying to get these jackets moved as quickly as possible to make more room for spring and summer items. I love selling Hoka 1-1s. If you're not familiar with this brand, great sneaker brand to pick up. Now you want to look and make sure, because the foam soles are very easy to scuff up, you want to make sure that there's still life left in them. Now these ones were worn and had, you know, a little bit of wear. And the soles were also replaced with Brooks soles instead of the Hoka 1-1s. As you can see, there was a little bit of wear on the bottom, but still enough life left in them. So they're pretty recognizable. If you come across these shoes and they have life left in them, I would definitely say worth picking up. You're looking at anywhere between, I would say, $35 and $65 for pre-owned pair, depending on the style. These ones were the Clifton 5 sneakers, and they sold for $50. I don't pick up a lot of Tommy Hilfiger anymore. If I do, it's usually got a lot of branding or spell out on it. I came across these pair of women's jeans. These are actually size 18, which is one of the main reasons I picked them up. They had a giant spell out. I don't think they were vintage. I think they were just kind of retro. But they were the high-rise curve legging in a plus size, which is the main reason I picked it up. These ended up selling for $36. Here's some more American Eagle pieces coming your way. This is a women's romper, again, super bohemian. It is embroidered and it had pockets. So all of that adds value in my opinion. And so that's why I list these kind of items higher. But I come across American Eagle all the time. And depending on where you live, you may too. So consider not passing on it in certain pieces. This one sold for $27. And this is an American Eagle top. Again, super boho, lots of embroidery, had that like gauzy peplum look. I really liked this top. I thought it was really pretty. This one sold for $25, which for American Eagle is a fantastic price for a top. This is another bohemian top, but this is by the brand Corley, by Corey Lynn Coulter, and you can see the tag was falling off, but I did note that here and took a second glance at this because of all the bohemian details and decided to pick it up. This brand seems to be a good brand, but I will say I did have to sit on this item for a little bit, but it did end up selling at $28. So this pair of Athleta women's jeans. Did you guys know that Athleta sold jeans? Because I didn't. That's why I found these jeans. These ones ended up selling for $30. And in general, if you come across a pair of Athleta jeans in good condition, I'd say it is worth picking up. This is a JCPenney men's vintage cowhide leather trucker jacket with some fur lining. I picked this up not for brand. The brand is JCPenney. Not normally a brand I pick up, but the style spoke to me and it's super on trend. These trucker jackets with the fur lining are super in right now, and then paired with this color of tan in suede, I think really helped to sell this. So I basically just made up a price and priced high and accepted offers. This ended up selling for $54, which I was really happy with, and I feel like this is something most people would pass up at their thrift store. But you want to look for things that add value, not necessarily the brand. This is a J. Crew men's vintage corduroy barn coat, and it was flannel lined. Now, I have been sitting on this one for a while as well. You can probably tell from the pictures, but in general, barn coats are really great items to pick up, and J. Crew is a good brand to pick up in barn coats. I think the reason this sat so long is because my pictures sucked, and I never retook them. This still ended up selling for $40, even with a small stain on the right wrist. This is a pair of Blink NYC leather look leggings. Blink NYC isn't a brand I pick up in everything. I actually come across it pretty often now, but I'm very selective with what I pick up. In general, this look with the faux leather legging or faux leather jegging is really trendy right now. So if you can find something with a leather look like this in pants, definitely worth doing some comps on. This sold for $30. This is a Levi's canvas jacket, and it did have a hood. It was lined with some Sherpa material. As you can see, it does have, you know, a little bit of fading on it, just some wash wear and, you know, wearing the item, but overall in great condition, no holes, stains, or rips. And I always pick up heavy canvas jackets in Levi's. They sell really, really well, even if they've got a tiny bit of distressing. It kind of just goes along with that Carhartt trend. But this ended up selling for $60, which I was really happy with. If you have the room to store jackets like this, they're definitely worth picking up. They can bring big money. This is a piece I have been sitting on for a little bit. I actually had this listed much, much higher, I think for $125 or something like that, which is where I saw some of these were going for. I looked up the style name of this when I first got it and found out it was called the Rare Dark Crystal Poncho. And these, you know, are very rare, so there's not very many listed, and all the ones that were listed had sold. I ended up, because I was sitting on this for a while and we're now about to move into warmer weather, I accepted an offer of $80. I've gotten quite a few offers on this, but I always countered and then they ghosted me or they declined because I wanted to get more for the item. But I've now been sitting on it for quite some time and we're about to move into another warmer season. So I took the $80 offer and just wanted to see this go, and that's still a really great return on my investment. This is a pair of cut from the cloth Kelsey ankle flare jeans. So I actually looked up this style name and the comps were not looking great for this. And most cut from the cloth jeans, they're not doing so hot anymore. But I decided to go against the grain and pick them up anyways because the style was super on trend. So these are a pair of black distressed at the hem jeans, and I could just tell that these were going to sell quickly, and they did, only for $25, but they were a pretty quick flip. So sometimes you got to go against the grain with certain pairs of jeans if you know they are really, really on trend. In my opinion, brand doesn't matter at that point if this is the kind of style that everyone is buying. This is a really great sale. This is a Patagonia women's black down parka jacket. I love selling Patagonia. If you're not familiar with this brand, if you're new to reselling, here is the tag. Great to pick up in jackets, especially down-filled jackets or puffer jackets that look like this. Excellent things to pick up. You want to make sure there's no holes or rips, and they can sell for big, big money. This one sold for $160. I think I picked this up for $5, and I found out at the end of the aisle misplaced somewhere. So really happy with that sale. Can't say enough good things about Patagonia down jackets. Okay, and we are going to finish up with some eBay items. I definitely wanted to show you this one because No Boundaries is a brand that is sold at Walmart. Here's the tag, might look familiar. But again, I went against the grain, decided regardless of brand I was going to pick this up because it was super on trend for spring. So this is a little tie kimono piece, and I loved the floral details of this. It was also longer length, which added value. It had some ruffles and the colors were just beautiful. Again, I just thought this was really on trend regardless of brand. So I decided to pick it up. It ended up selling very quickly for $24.91 plus shipping, my full asking price. I sold this Rag & Bone women's cashmere sweater dress. This is another one I went against the grain with the comps. Rag & Bone comps on eBay do not look good. I don't know why. But this was a modern style. The brand retails for a lot, and even though the sell-through rate doesn't seem like it's there, this was 100% cashmere. So for all of those reasons, I still decided to pick it up. And it ended up selling for my full asking price of $89.91. And this actually went through an international sale through the global shipping program. This is a Todd Snyder men's wool alpaca sweater. When I felt this, it felt like quality. I didn't know much about the brand. but this was in excellent condition, and like I said, it felt like quality, so I did look up the brand paired with some of these materials, and they were doing very, very well. I was getting some lower offers, but I held out, and it ended up selling for my full asking price of $69.91. Here's another Ralph Lauren piece. This is the line Lauren Ralph Lauren, and I picked this up because of style. So it had a lot of like Nordic, and even, I guess you might even call that Western, but more Nordic Fair Isle prints. It was made out of lamb's wool and Angora, and it had that like fur color. This one was also new with tags. You can see it retailed for $179. I had this one listed at $49.99, and it sold on an offer for $44.99. This is a recent pickup. This is a Zara men's distressed black denim jacket. Had a little bit of like spell out detail and barcode or flag logo on the back. Some different graphic, but mainly picked it up for the distressing, and it was actually missing part of a button at the top, but for me that didn't matter because of the distress look. Picked this up mainly because it was really on trend. Had it listed for $29.92. It sold on an offer for $26.93, and it sold very, very quickly after getting it listed. This is the brand Orvis. If you're not familiar with it, I highly recommend keeping your eye out for Orvis. I don't pick up every piece. I'm very specific with what I pick up, but this was a very modern piece. This is a newer label. And it was kind of like a sweater jacket with a fleece lining. I thought it was really pretty and really well made. This ended up selling on an offer for $26.92. I originally had it listed at $29.91. All right, I picked this one up strictly off of style. This is a vintage plaid dress by the brand Jessica Howard. I come across this brand a lot, and I almost never pick up her stuff, but this really spoke to me because I had recently watched The Queen's Gambit, and this kind of reminded me of her style in that show. And I knew that that was a very trendy show at the moment. So because everybody was watching that show, because I thought that this fell in line with that style and what people might be looking for, I went ahead and picked this up, and I put the words Queen's Gambit into the title and into the description. I actually had quite a bit of interest on this on all the platforms I listed it on, and I have been sitting on it, I think, for a month or two. But it did end up selling on an offer for $44.92, which is an amazing price for a dress that most people were passing at the thrift store. I originally had this price for $49.91, so I gave the buyer roughly $5 off. This is a Neiman Marcus women's cashmere set. It's a set because there is a short sleeve sweater underneath, and then it had the cardigan, the matching cardigan to go on top of it. This was definitely an older style, but it was 100% cashmere, made by the brand Neiman Marcus, which retails for a lot. And I did know that some vintage Neiman Marcus pieces can do pretty well. So I looked this up, and all these sweater sets like this were doing extremely well. This was also a size 2XL, which in my opinion adds value because it's a larger size and harder to find. Had this one listed for $59.91, and it did sell at my full asking price. This is a vintage Christian Dior sweater, and a lot of these have the Orlon acrylic. I don't think I took a brand of the material tag, but Orlon acrylic, normally you wouldn't think of acrylic being a notable material. However, the Orlon acrylic is pretty popular in these vintage sweaters, so I put that in my title. These don't sell for a ton, but they do sell. This one sold for my full asking price of $29.91. This is a Fabletics new with tags Jamie Seamless Mesh Crop. It was pretty easy to find the styling because all the information was there. I actually came across this in multiple different colors, and I just basically copy and pasted the listing and changed the photo. This one I listed at $29.99, and it sold at my full asking price. I don't show non-clothing or non-shoe items very often, but I have been sitting on this Keurig cup holder. I got it really inexpensively, and it sold for $20, plus the buyer did pay for shipping. So if you come across a Keurig K-cup holder. It does have a pretty good sell-through rate, and you can make decent money on it if you're willing to ship it. It honestly wasn't hard to ship. I just put it in one of my USPS boxes, but if you're into selling hard goods, this is something to be on the lookout for. You can come across them pretty often. This is an LL Bean women's house coat. LL Bean is similar to Ralph Lauren, and I like to pick up their pieces because most of the time they're pretty well made and they have a following. So this was a size extra large, which really helped, but this was a substantial piece in a fleece house coat, and I found this in the pajama section, and a lot of people don't go to the pajama section of the thrift store, and you're missing out because there are some really good pieces that you wouldn't think would be worth so much, but they are. This one I had listed at $39.91 and it sold for $35.92. Here's another area of a thrift store most people don't go to, and this is the linen section. So this is a blanket, and I learned this, I think, from Victoria off of the channel Katie and Vicky. She sells a lot of vintage stuff. I believe it was her. And she said that these vintage blankets with the satin trim, if they're in good enough condition, can go for crazy amounts of money. This one wasn't a special brand or anything like that, and it did have, as you can see here, a small flaw, but other than that was in pretty good condition. I had this listed for $44.10, and it did sell at my full asking price, which I was really, really happy with. But keep your eye out for vintage blankets with a satin trim. I personally would still try to do comps on like the color or the style if you can, but if it's in decent condition, I would say take a shot on it. You would be awfully surprised at how much these go for. Here is an Athleta bra, and I wanted to show you this because a lot of people pass on the bra section, but some of them are worth quite a bit. I find it easier to ship sports bras. Usually there's not wiring, so you don't have to worry about putting them in a box. You can usually just put them in a poly mailer. This one was a very substantial bra by Athleta, so crisscross back. Here's the Athleta branding if you're not familiar with it, and the spell out inside. This I have listed for $29.99. It's sold on an offer for $26.99, which is a really great price for a pre-owned bra. This is the brand Diesel. It is one of my favorite brand jeans to pick up, and the style is called Rookie. Some of these Diesel jeans go for crazy amounts of money depending on the style and the wash. This one I would consider kind of mid-tier, and you want to notate whether they are button fly or if they're a zip fly. So if they have buttons instead of a zipper, always put button fly in your title. I find that a lot of Diesel jeans have button fly. This one I had listed for $39.91, and it did sell at my full asking price. This is the brand XCVI. Almost everything I find in this brand I pick up. It doesn't look like much, but a lot of their stuff is really unique, and it does tend to sell really quickly for me. This was even a size extra small, and as you can see, a very unique style of pant. Had it listed for $29.91, and it sold on an offer for $26.92. I've also sold jackets in this brand that do extremely well, so just in general, I would keep your eye out for this brand. I also love selling this brand and pick up almost everything I come across in this brand. It is Sundance. They have a really great following. This skirt I have been sitting on for a little while, but to be fair, we're just coming into weather where somebody might wear a skirt like this, so I'm not mad that I sat on it, but I have been sitting on it for a little while. So I had this listed at $29.99, and it sold for $26.99.
Alright guys, so that is it for what sold last week. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching. Again, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you would like to be notified as I make new content. I've got a lot of exciting stuff coming up. I don't know if you guys can tell from the background or if you've seen my Instagram posts, but I will be posting some newer content here soon, kind of talking about where I am at in my reselling business. So stay tuned for that, but I think that wraps it up for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next video.